Hey, hi, welcome everyone. Um, every once in a while, I do this with no preparation. I usually spend a lot of time preparing, and then once a month or so, or less, I kind of like to roll the dice and see what might happen spontaneously. So I really only have one song planned tonight, and then we'll move on from there. I had a radio show on Delaware Valley Public Radio, WDVR, for 5 years in the 90s, and I enjoyed it tremendously. See, I'm not even ready to sit. and Wait a minute, I gotta adjust the screen even a little bit here. I enjoyed it and I learned a lot from it. And 5 years was a long time, and I think I did it for 2 years, at least 2.5, 3 years, where I was heavily prepared every week. And then I talked to a fellow DJ and found out that he never prepared, and he liked to explore the happy accidents. And was that Ted Lyons who told me that? Possibly. He still has a show. He's got maybe the longest running show on. It's on Thursday mornings. The Honky Tonk Roadhouse. Great show. 89.7 WDVR, and obviously on the internet now too, all over the world. But I was preparing and brought a case with all the things I was going to play. And he might have been the one who told me, waved me off of that and said, no, be spontaneous, enjoy the happy accidents. And from that moment on, my show got better. So for the last 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, I never hardly prepared anything, although I would stitch together some things. And my show went from 2 hours, from 10 to 12, 10 to midnight, to 3 hours, 7 to 10, and I had more time to fill. And I liked the late night gang, but it changed a whole lot when I went to 7. I had a whole new listenership. Okay, let me get into a song here, the one song I have planned, and we'll move on from there. But I know people, especially on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, which is called Folk Rock For You, they probably are less inclined to want to hear these wool gathering stories. I have a good story for you tonight too about meeting an almost rock star, someone who just fell short of it. And I have known celebrities and rock stars and been friends with some over the years. And I learned a lot from that experience too. So here's one of the great story songs of all time, and it might be the greatest in a lot of ways. And additionally, if you are aware of the kind of construct of story songs, I'd have to maybe defer to Dylan. That Tangled Up in Blue is the greatest story song, but this one has the advantage of having come from real life. So Jerry Jeff Walker really lived this, and I think there were people early on who did not realize that this story was about a guy, a real person, like a street dancer, who called himself Mr. Bojangles. This is not about the famous Bill Bojangles Robinson who made it in Hollywood and and then ended up on the streets of Nashville or something. No, I don't believe that. And maybe even Texas. I think Bill Bojangles Robinson was around to the end of his life dancing. So if you know it, sing along. It's got some interesting construction issues here, which I'll talk about in a minute, but it goes like this. I met a man, Bojangles, and he danced for you in worn out shoes, with silver hair, a ragged shirt, and baggy pants. The old soft shoe. He jumped so high, he jumped so high. He lightly touched down. I met him in a cell in New Orleans. I was down and out. He looked to me to be the eyes of age as he spoke right out. Talked of life, he talked of life. He laughed, slapped his leg and said, he said the name Bojangles, then he danced a lick across the cell. He grabbed his pants, a higher stance, so he jumped so high and clicked his heels. He let go a laugh, he let go a laugh, shook back his clothes all around. Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, dance, yeah. He danced for those at minstrel shows and county fairs, yeah. Throughout the South, he spoke with tears of 15 years, how his dog and him had traveled about. His dog up and died, he up and died. After 20 years, he still grieves. He said, I dance now at every chance in honky tonks for drinks and tips. Most of the time I spend behind these county bars, 'cause I drinks a bit. He shook his head, and as he shook his head, I heard someone ask, please. Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles. my little diva Martin here. Yes, it did slip a little during that. I was in my dorm room at college and listening to the college radio station, which even as a student-run amateur station, it was even more amateur than normal. I mean, you'd hear people say like virtually anything. And a guy said, we all drove to New York City last night and saw Jerry Jeff Walker play. This, I believe, was at the bitter end. And he said, what a great show, et cetera, et cetera. And then he said, here, I'm going to play a version of Mr. Bojangles that's not heard very often. This is one of the great things about college radio and public radio. I really had no playlist, no restrictions. When I was on the air, I could play anything, as long as it didn't have, bad language in it. So this guy played a Mr. Bojangles cut that Jerry Jeff Walker, and he said, to set it up, he said, reportedly, Jerry Jeff was drunk when he did this version. And it did have that kind of vibe to it. And some of you eagle-eyed guitar players might notice that I played a different chord in the second or last chorus. And that was the one that was on the drunk version, which, here's how the chorus usually goes. Mr. Bojangles, which is kind of a little bit bittersweet, but Mr. Bojangles. The version that this student played at Lafayette College, where I was always on the border of flunking out, and that chorus went like this. Instead of Mr. Bojangles, it went Mr. Bojangles. Interesting, isn't it? It's a little more bittersweet. Mr. Bojangles. And some of you connoisseurs will often say, and I think you're right, that one of the best versions of the song is David Bromberg's version, and that's a live cut off of one of his early albums, and he plays it with a bass player. My friend Fred Holman played with Jerry Jeff for years and played bass with Jerry Jeff, and he said it was pretty rugged sometimes, and Jerry was an Iron Man, and I don't think he missed gigs like some of the heavy drinkers are known to do. I was going to go see George Jones when he played the bitter end, the bottom line one night. I was very interested in maybe seeing this classic country singer. And the announcement came on WNEW and in the New York Times. George Jones's gig is canceled, and no reason was given, but everybody who knew anything about George Jones knew what the reason was. He just got himself so completely plastered that he probably couldn't come out of his hotel. But Jerry Jeff was playing, and my friend Fred tells me that he was playing Woolman Skating Rink in Central Park. There was a concert series there. Some of you remember it. And Jerry Jeff was in the middle of a song, and just wandered over to the edge of the stage and threw up and just came back and just completed the song as if nothing had happened. Not recommended, boys and girls. What was I gonna do? Maybe another. Oh, yeah, a McCartney song. And this is off the great album Ram, I think, which just had an anniversary or whatever. And I don't really know if I'm going to be able to remember this whole lyric. See, I'm telling you, I'm just doing things off the cuff tonight. But my friend David Spinoza played on this record, and he's very proud of that. And I dedicate it to Melinda and Lloyd tonight, who were up there in the country on the farm. I look high, I look low, I'm looking everywhere I go, looking for a home in the heart of the country. I'm gonna move, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna tell everyone I know, yeah, looking for a home in the heart of the country. Heart of the country where the old people go. Heart of the country, smell the grass in the meadow. I want a horse, I got a sheep. I want to get me a good night's sleep, yeah, yeah. Living in a home in the heart of the country. I wanna go, I wanna tell everyone I know, yeah. Living in a home in the heart of the country. Heart of the country where the old people go. Heart of the country, smell the grass in the meadow. I got a horse, I want a sheep, I wanna get me a good night's sleep, yeah. Living in a home in the heart of the country. I wanna move, I wanna go, I wanna tell everyone I know. Living in the heart of the country. Heart of the country where the old people go. Heart of the country, smell the grass in the meadow. I think David Spinoza played the acoustic guitar on that song, and a lot of people would assume it's McCartney. And the late great Hugh McCracken played the amazing electric rhythm part on that song, which is just, I tried to shorthand notate it, but maybe McCartney wanted to do the song kind of live in the studio, and he didn't want to do. He might have played the bass on that. Okay, Ram, great album. Do you know, with all the great songs on that, Too Many People, Backseat of My Car, I'm missing, Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey, one of the greatest McCartney records, and Hugh McCracken played all those beautiful guitar parts on that. I'm friends with his brother Don, who's a pastor in Central Jersey, and I have a lot of friends over the years who were pastors. All my friends used to be bartenders. So I guess I'm moving up in the world in that regard. What did I want to tell you? The story, this little story. And I've had some, there's an expression, and it, it, it might be true, and it might be more true than people want it to be. And that is, don't ever meet your heroes. They'll be a disappointment. I spent some time today looking up the pronunciation of the name Tamar, and half of the sources I looked up said it was Tamar, which never sounded right to me, but that was how a lot of people said it was pronounced. I thought it might more logically be Tamar. It's an old biblical name, but a great writer named Mark Helprin has a story called Tamar. Let's go with that pronunciation. One of the greatest short stories I've ever read, and I've read hundreds and hundreds of them. Before I did my book of short stories, There Must Be a Better World Somewhere, I read one summer, I read 200 short stories to get myself in the mood. Here is a signed copy of my book, signed to a person who never got it. And it was right there on the floor underfoot, and it's all crumpled up. And anyway, you could get yourself a good fresh copy for only $10 on Amazon. There Must Be a Better World Somewhere. Chip Murgott, Livingston Taylor wrote me a great review. What a great guy. And I got thumbs up from numerous people on it who recommend it. And so it's not up to me to tell you what I think of it. But I enjoy, I do enjoy it. I can even read it. I can read my own book occasionally. It's very short. You can read the whole thing in an hour. And my favorite story on it, for some of you who are interested, I like the first two stories the most. There Must Be a Better World Somewhere is the title story, the title track. And it was all about this deep immersion I've had in the blues. But it came from a real life event that happened to a friend of mine in Chicago. And then the second story, called The Banjo Lesson, is really a compilation of real life experiences I've had with students. And I kind of compiled them into one student. And I can stand on that story and endorse it. So, as you can see, after I tell you this little anecdote, I'm going for the uke here. So yeah, like I said, and the story Tamar by Mark Halperin, if you can track it down, it's really, really an amazing story with a lot of truth to it. And it's about a young man who's early 20s maybe, trying to find his way, and he falls in love with this beautiful red-headed singer. And with her flaming hair, she's an opera singer, and he keeps going back and spending his money to see her over and over again. And the guy who takes the tickets kind of chuckles and he gets to know him, and he knows what's going on, the old guy. And I'm not going to ruin anything or give the plot away, but I just want to tell you that a very wise moment is I don't know, he gets in a conversation with the old guy, and he's like, oh, if only I could meet her, and just make everything so great. And the old man grabs his hand and he goes, "No, no, you don't know. It's so much better that you don't meet her. You know, you'll always have this dream of this perfect woman." And you know, of course, I wrote this song that got me a record deal and a producer, which was called "Girl on the High Wire." I've done it here on the show fairly recently, and it is about that kind of imaginary, unattainable person, and that's what this story is. So again, there's a through line in my life about some of these topics, including "There Must Be a Better World Somewhere," which inspired. No, the song didn't inspire me. The B.B. King song, "There Must Be a Better World Somewhere." I never heard the B.B. King song when I wrote my song, "My Home Isn't in This World." In fact, I gave a copy to B.B. King afterwards, not even knowing. I was so unaware. The old man says no, and the young man doesn't believe him, of course. He doesn't believe him. He hasn't been around long enough. But I want to tell you about me meeting this girl on the high wire type of rock star in the making who ended up just falling slightly short. So, do you know that when the Police broke up, their drummer, Stuart Copeland, started writing movie soundtracks and some like operatic classical kind of stuff. And from what I heard, he was starting to miss pop and rock music. So at that point, with his reach that he had being the drummer for the Police, then in the 90s, he said, "Who's the best bass player that I could just choose?" He had his choice of many people, and he chose Stanley Clarke. So Stanley Clarke is one of the great creative virtuoso bass players ever. And Stuart said, "Let's get a front person for our band." And they kind of he liked working in the trio format. So we wanted to keep it as a trio. There's a little more room in a trio for a drummer to stretch out, I guess. And so they went through, I think, hundreds of submissions for a front person. And they finally settled on this young woman whose name is Deborah Holland. And she just sent a tape to a publisher, and the publisher heard about Stuart Copeland searching, and he got the tape to Stuart. And she turned out to be, attractive in a really magnetic way. She doesn't look like a typical rock singer at all. She looked like a librarian in a way, and she wore kind of horn-rimmed glasses. And that was really catnip for me as a young man, and I went gaga over her. Did I say 90s? This was in the 80s. I'm sorry, not the 90s. And they had one magnificent pop single called "A Spy in the House of Love." And I recommend it if you can look it up and find it. It's "A Spy in the House of Love" by Animal Logic. And the video, of course, the videos were all the rage. And so you could just see a video and be starry-eyed with hero worship or something. We've all experienced it, right? And so I probably thought when I was in the 80s, and I had a band called the Stingers, and so, I was out there a little bit, and I thought, what if I could ever run across her and get to talk to her, get to know her? It was a dream, but I didn't have a very high aspirations, so I wasn't being unrealistic about it. But years and years later now, I'm sure it was after the year 2000, I found out that she was playing a little local folk venue the next town over. And it was a concert series that my friend John Weingart, the great folk DJ on WPRB, used to run. And Music at the Mill or something like that. It was at the Pearlsville Mill. Some of you who've driven down Route 29, you know that location. There's this beautiful old mill right on the river. And so I look at his concert listings and I see Deborah Holland listed, and I go, oh my gosh, that must be the same Deborah Holland, you know. Who knows why they didn't make it? They didn't have exactly the right chemistry live. I don't know. She had a great voice, she looked great, and she wrote really good songs, but also they had a couple of maybe follow-up moments, and the follow-up singles were not as good as Spy in the House of Love. And Spy in the House of Love got on MTV in rotation, so it did get some traction. But for whatever reason, well, I do know the reason. One of the reasons was Stanley Clarke could only give a certain amount of limited time to the band. And so he started getting a separate career going, and they basically had to fold the group in a way, or maybe they'd still be playing today. I don't know. They have the occasional reunion. They had one in 2019, I believe, so that's recent. And so I went to see Deborah Holland, and she was, joking from the stage that, she thought she was going to be a rock star, and it looked like it was going to go that way. And now she's a soccer mom, she said. I have a Volvo station wagon. There's a song in that, believe me, for you aspiring songwriters. There is a song in that scenario. The soccer mom who was a rock star for 5 minutes, So I hung around, and afterwards I went up with some trepidation because, yes, I've met some people, and I'm not going to mention their names, and they were, complete jerks, some of my heroes, and they shattered my dreams about meeting them. Okay, I'm inclined to be more candid than some people are about these things, so I'll tell you one of them was Steve Stills. He was just about like one of the most annoying jerks ever. And I feel sort of bad talking about it. We almost got in a fight in a club, and he had about 100 pounds on me in those days. And he would have sent me to the hospital if we did come to blows. And you would have read about me in the New York Post. But I feel bad. Steve, like so many people, he had a drinking problem in those days. He was probably kind of half plastered. And this painful thing about it was I tried to give him a compliment after I saw him jamming in this little club in New York, Trax. And I went up to him afterwards and said something like, wow, it's really great to see how much you enjoy playing when you're kind of off the clock. And I won't go into his response. But now, what is he? He's nearer to 80 probably than he is to 70. But he looks back on that, and I've heard he's a very mellow, nice person now. So that was just, though, but so what? It doesn't help me any when you meet this hero and he acts like a complete asshole. Oops, can I say that? I like to keep this show clean. Anyway, the Deborah Holland story. I continued to sit in the dark, mesmerized, alone, watching, and she didn't have any songs that really jumped out at me as like magnificently great singer-songwriter songs, but who cares? But the trepidation I felt was that, is she going to be like a Steve Stills? and just say, yeah, thanks, buddy, But I came up afterwards and I did mention Animal Logic, and she was the nicest person, and not overly friendly, but just really nice to me. And I don't even remember if she signed something or gave me her card. I think something like that happened, and I probably got on her mailing list or whatever. But she couldn't have been nicer, and so she was a total dream. It wasn't a nightmare. It was a happy dream. And now, whatever she does, I'll be interested in because of that occurrence. You tell me in the comments below if you've met a celebrity and how it went. You don't have to mention names. I don't want you to make entries putting down people, but I'd love to hear some of your comments about if I met my hero or whatever. Sometimes it's a sports figure too. Sometimes it's an actor. And I could go on and on because I've, had an encounter with Meryl Streep and et cetera, et cetera. In any event, when I was around 16 years old, I don't even think I had my driver's license yet, and I had my grandfather's old vaudeville cracked, battered ukulele that he had traveled across the country with. And I was sitting at our kitchen table in Watchung, New Jersey. And it looks like, by the way, I'm going to write a piece of music for Watchung's 100th anniversary, which is happening a year from this month of May. So next year, Lord willing, you'll hear me conducting probably the Watchung Hills Marching Band. I'm not joking. The Watchung Hills Marching Band and their chorus is who I'm writing it for. And so we'll all come together at Mobus Field, I believe, to do an outside concert. And Alan LaBeouf and I are going to play too, Lord willing. Okay, I'm sitting there in the kitchen with my grandfather's uke, and this song just popped out, almost completely formed, fully formed and organic. And this ukulele that I got, which is an Acklot, it's called. Who knows that? But it's a beautiful sounding uke. And I play it on the record that I'm making, my new single, which is going to come out in the next couple of weeks, I hope. And that is this song that I'm about to do that I wrote on the ukulele. And it's called Out on the Trail. So my philosophy is the world needs a good cowboy song at this point. And it goes like this. Well, I'm dusty and tired, and I've been out on the trail all day long. All I want now is to sit by my fire, dream all my troubles away, sing the old songs. Well, the moon has taken to shining, and it's lighting the path that I walk on my way home. but my home is only a blanket, and the stars are the only fair eyes I can see when I roam. It seems like I've ridden alone for so long, watching the herd for so long. And I couldn't be happier to tell you. Well, I've got 4 singles planned in the next 2 months or so. One of them is my song Gene that I wrote when I was 18 and has come around again in my life. And I want to thank Jamie Flynn, for his great encouragement that has been there for many years. And I deeply appreciate it. Started all with that song, I think. He encouraged me on it the first time he ever heard it, I think. And now I lost my train of... No, I didn't. I got my train of thought back. A great joy to me is that my beloved lifelong friend Alan LaBeouf and his beautiful daughter Elizabeth, who now have a very viable and regular duo. They play almost weekly at the Pittstown Inn. And they sing background vocals on it, you know. So you will hear their angelic voices. And so I went to their house. I brought my studio with me, and I went to their home in Central Jersey and set it up in a spare room, and we recorded the background vocals. And then they even served me dinner. And as I'm leaving, I get a parting gift of Peet's Coffee. So I made out like a bandit on that occasion, you know what I mean? And I'm here to tell you that Alan has changed my life in many ways, but one of the best ways is that he turned me on to Peet's Coffee, and now I can't go back to regular coffee anymore. This song came to mind recently as I was very deeply studying the meaning of the blues in the late 80s, and now all these years later, 2024, I wrote an entire blues album, and that's going to be the next thing on the agenda after I do my 4 singles. And I could tell you a lot about how I came to write this song, and Maria Moldauer had something to do with it. On a night that I went to see her at John and Peter's, a famous little club in New Hope, Pennsylvania. But I am kind of running short on time, and I told a long story, so I'll get right to this blues. And it is the title track to my album in 1989 called My Home Isn't in This World. You can find it if you are interested, if you like this live version. Gee, the bass player for the Dixie Dregs played bass on that recording. And I never saw him again, so his name has escaped me. Some of you will comment in the comments and say, "Chip, you idiot." It's this guy, this really famous, great bass player. And he really was great. Now I'm about to start another song that I'm recording as my title track, and so My Home Isn't in This World just flew out of my head for a minute. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know, no. I don't know how I got here. But I sure enough know. My home isn't in this world. No, no. People on the street don't see me, or else I'm just looked down on. I can't stand up straight like a tree the wind has blown up. My home isn't in this world. I feel so alone. There must be some place better somewhere than where I've been before, yeah. A brighter light that's shining, yeah, than what I've seen before. My home isn't in this world anymore, no. Whoa, whoa. Thank you. I was happy to play for you tonight. I have some new songs in the works. I haven't stopped writing. I've tried. I've tried to so that I can concentrate 100% on recording. But you know what? The songs come and you take them when they come. So I have a couple of new ones, and I'll either do them next week or I might even jump on here another day sooner than next week. And thanks so much for liking and subscribing. That helps the channel. And I especially want to thank the people who have contributed to the show. It really means a lot. It keeps the show running. It takes usually, like I said, a lot of work and preparation, and sometimes I wing it, but even the winging it shows are prepared in a lot of ways. And I really thank you, Michael and Melinda and Marty, the 3Ms, and Jamie Flynn and Alan, who brings me coffee, and Steve Philp, and Ed Graney. I want to mention him. A big shout out to him. And the place to do it is right below in the description of the show. You'll find what I call my virtual tip jar, and that is just the link to my PayPal account. It's totally secure. You can leave a tip of any size there. If you passed me on the street in New Hope or wherever, and I was standing there with my guitar and my guitar case open with some money in it, I'm sure you would drop some in. And I would if you were playing. So thanks again, and I will see you soon. God bless.